Cool. Sweet. I've just been checking my page. I've gotten 1,065 likes in the past week. I'm current at 36,300. Yep. Getting very well. Alright. Yes, I'm ready.
Hello and welcome to Camp Netherside. I forgot the intro. Great start. We don't need an intro.
Yes, she needs an intro.
Okay, we need an intro. Roll the intro, we'll be back in half a minute.
Okay.
Welcome to Camp Netherside. Now that we actually play the intro, we have officially started. There's been a lot of delay for Camp Netherside, unfortunately, but I'm happy to announce that Camp Netherside is continuing, and we are here with our third episode, a language quiz, and I'm joined by a very special guest today, my good friend Rolf Weimar. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing very well, and you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's
Oh, that's good.
it's really great to have you on the show. it's
Thanks.
it's I'm looking forward to this. Now, you have actually set up a language quiz for me.
Yes.
Now, I have no idea what you have made, so I'm really excited to see that.
Okay, that's very cool. So, if your viewers don't know, I run a website called Silly Linguistics. I run a group on Facebook called Silly Linguistics, and I have a page on Facebook called Vagabond and Silly Linguist, and that's the character on my shirt. His name is Steve the Vagabond. So I also have my own YouTube channel, where I make all sorts of interesting language stuff. So something I've wanted to do for a while is to do a kind of general quiz about language, and kind of in the "You Want to Be a Millionaire" style. The questions get more and more difficult over time. But these questions are still geared towards the language enthusiast. Like the easy question would be easy questions for a language enthusiast. So if you don't know anything about language, maybe even the easy questions will throw you off. But hopefully you'll be able to get some of that if you don't know anything about language and you're really just a beginner. But anyone who really just started with language should be able to get a few of these, and at the very least the easy ones. So how did that sound?
And that sounds pretty good. And I can actually recommend that people check out your stuff, because it's really good, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I'm a big fan of your work.
Thank you so much. Okay,
So-
shall we begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. Cue the beat, or whatever.
Yes. Sound effects. We have
Yeah,
high budget
okay.
here.
So let's start. Do you know what IPA stands?
IPA, that's the International Phonetic Alphabet, isn't it?
It stands for the International Phonetic Association.
Association? Really?
Yes.
I wow.
Yes. So the idea with the IPA is that people want to have a way of writing out pronunciation and to have a system which can be used for any language. So it doesn't matter what language it is it Xhosa or Zulu or Japanese or Chinese or English or Navajo, any you could use this for any language. It also has support for tones. You can write down tones. You can write down weird glottal hiccups here, there. Maybe there's some subtle things, the way people deal with vowels and the way people deal with consonants. So it can get quite involved, but it's very useful for making some kind of distinction. So if you want to distinguish between ask and ask, so
Yes.
that's something that you could do with that.
Indeed. I'm vaguely familiar with it.
Okay, how
Yes.
much of the IPA have you learned?
I know probably like 20%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Or maybe
I know-
more.
I know the symbols that are used in the major European languages, and I know a few of the extra things that you can add on top. So, like you can add something that will make it voice or devoice. There's a whole bunch of things that you can add on to
Yeah, there's a lot.
yeah.
Yes.
And then you can also use it for tones, which is kind of interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yes, yes. You can show that it goes from high to low, low to high,
Or both.
Okay, so now that we've got our feet wet a little bit, why don't we talk about languages themselves? Okay, so
Oh, goody.
language fits into a language family. Now,
Yes.
there is a language very closely related to your own language.
Indeed.
Norwegian, called Icelandic. Now, what language family does Icelandic fall into?
Well, we have Old Norse, which is an older form of them. And we also have other Scandinavian languages. Like Swedish, Danish. Really similar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, what is that language family called?
That language family is called North Germanic. If we go even further, we have just Germanic, or
Yeah.
even as far as Indo-European.
Yes, very, very good. So there's a lot of different groups out there. Most languages in Europe are part of the Indo-European group.
They
Now,
are.
There's one that isn't.
Name one that
Okay.
isn't.
Okay,
I know a
so,
couple.
So the language that borders you is Finland, or one of the countries that borders you.
Indeed.
Finland.
And
Now,
Finnish.
They speak Finnish in Finland. Now, what language family is Finnish?
Finnish, that is Uralic, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
so
a-
it's spoken north of the Euro.
Yes.
I think.
That's a completely different language family than Indo-European.
Yes. So not only is it not North Germanic, not only is it not Germanic, it's also not even Indo-European. It's completely different language family.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's related to the language of the Sami.
Yes. The Sami, they are an indigenous people in North Norway.
Yes. And basically North Scandinavia, North Norway, North Finland, North Sweden,
Indeed.
basically all those things. Okay, now let's crank things up again. So you've given me one language that is not Indo-European. There's
Yes.
another one that's neither Indo-European nor Eurasian.
Well,
Spoken in Europe. What
yes.
is it?
Well, for me, that's only one language that springs to mind, and that's spoken on the border of Spain and France. I don't know if that's the one you're looking for. Basque.
Well, not particularly, but that is the
But
correct answer.
That is one.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so Basque is what is known as a language isolate,
Yeah,
which means that it has no known relatives.
exactly.
So I'm sure it had relatives once, because
Yeah, probably
languages
did.
come from a language community, people speaking together, and then if that group was large enough, it probably had dialects and probably even had separate languages that were all part of this group. But Basque is the only one that has survived. Now, so that's in Western Europe. If you look at Eastern Europe, there is another important language that is spoken in Eastern Europe that is not Indo-European.
Oh, I should know this. Is it going to be Georgian? Or in that area?
Yeah. Okay. So Georgian, you're right. Georgian is not Indo-European. I was actually thinking about Turkish.
Oh yes, Turkish.
Turkey does have a little
Of
bit
course.
of a piece in Europe.
The biggest.
And
Yes.
yes, and Turkish is not Indo-European at all. It's part of the Turkic language,
Yes.
which is a language family that spreads from Eastern Europe all the way into Western Asia. And there's quite a few Turkish.
I totally forgot about Turkish. And such a huge language.
A lot of those smaller Turkic languages are spoken by a nomadic tribe, and they're quite varied, and it's very interesting to look at things like that.
Indeed.
Okay, so now let's go back to Indo-European and let's look at the language we're speaking in right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So the language we're speaking right now is of English. Now,
English.
what is the immediate predecessor of modern English, or what we call that?
The immediate predecessor, well, we have Old English, but you may be referring to Proto-Germanic.
Yes. So the ultimate ancestor, the one we looking as far back as we can.
As far back.
We get to Proto-Indo-European.
Proto-Indo-European.
Proto-Germanic.
Yes.
Formed out of Proto-Indo-European. So
Indeed.
over time, people were speaking Proto-Indo-European, and it changed. Languages all changed over time, and bit by bit it started to change in the north of Europe. So most linguists agree that Proto-Indo-European was spoken in the Russian steppes, and then over time those people spread out, and some of them eventually ended up in Scandinavia, and that's where
Yes.
Proto-Germanic developed. Now, some of those people then moved into North Germany area, and then if you look further on, some of those people then moved from there to the British Isles, and one of those groups was called the Saxons. So
The Saxons.
The Jews and the Angles. And
Indeed.
the name England comes from
The
name of one of these
Angles.
groups.
Yeah, the Angles.
Yes. So actually, English is closely related to all those other Germanic languages, but English is a West Germanic language.
Yes.
And
Whereas Norwegian is a North Germanic language. Oh, and we seem to have some connection issues. We seem to have some technical issues. it appears that maybe Rolf's computer may have crashed. We apologize for this. Yeah, he did crash.
Hello.
Hello,
No,
you're back.
I think my internet being disconnected there.
No, your internet is not good.
Yeah. so where did I disconnect?
I see.
At what point?
Yes, don't panic. We're back. It's good.
Okay, so I was talking about the Germanic language, but at what point did it cut off?
We cut off at English being a West Germanic language.
Yes. So Icelandic is a North Germanic language, and
Yes.
Finnish is a West Germanic. So there's the different types of it. Okay, so we're at 5 questions in. So there's going to be 10 questions in each section.
Okay.
And so how's it going so far? Are you feeling up to the top?
Absolutely. I think this will be fun.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay.
Yes.
So we know languages are related to each other. There's a language spoken in the north of Great Britain called Scots. Now, Scots is closely related to English, and
Yes.
a lot of people consider it just a dialect. And so there's no real answer about the difference between the language and the dialect, but let's just say that Scots is the dialect of English.
Okay.
So, taking that into account, what language is most closely related to English?
Most closely related to English. Is that going to be Frisian?
Yes.
Yes.
That's quite right. So Frisian was Frisian is spoken in kind of North Germany, North Holland area, that kind of general area, and a lot of the people who went to England came from this area called Friesland.
Yes.
And there's another language also closely related to both Frisian and English called Low German, but Low German has been heavily influenced by High German over the years, so now it's quite different to English. But one example is the word give in Low German is give.
Give.
So you can
Yes.
see it's quite similar in some places.
Indeed.
Okay, so let's think more about the Germanic languages. How much do you know about the history of Afrikaans?
Of Afrikaans. There I have to say I don't know that much. I know a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Let's
let
go
me
for
ask
it.
you, which language is Afrikaans most closely related?
That should be Dutch, isn't it?
Yes, that's quite right.
Yes.
So Afrikaans developed from the dialect of Dutch, which was spoken in South Africa. And
Yes.
over time, it developed into its own language.
Indeed.
Okay. So now, there's different groups in West Germanic. So there's the North Sea Germanic languages,
Yes.
which are English and Frisian, and then we've got the languages in Germany. Now, the language spoken in
Yes.
North Germany, Low German.
Low
Now,
German.
How close is North German? Is Low German connected to High German? Like, why is it called Low German and High German?
Why high and lower?
Yeah.
Well, I know that Low German is, as you said, West Germanic, but High German, that's, it's the, that should be, it's a different branch of West Germanic, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So there's three branches of West Germanic. There's the North Sea Germanic, which is English, Low German, and Frisian. There's the Dutch languages, which
Yes.
are Dutch, Flemish, and Afrikaans. And then there's the German languages, which are they're called Middle German, Upper German, and Swiss German. So it's called Low German merely because it's spoken in Germany, but Low German is actually more closely related to English than it is to High German.
Indeed.
Just called that because it's spoken in Germany, and the low refers to altitude, not any kind of quality.
Exactly.
You know, because you often say, oh, he is at a high position, you know,
Yeah.
high seems to sound good, you know, but actually it merely refers to elevation.
Yes, I was going to make that observation if you didn't.
But a lot of people use the word high regardless, like
Yeah.
pioneering.
Yes.
And it's kind of become the thing. Okay, so let's change tack a bit.
Okay.
Do you know which language in the world has the most native speakers?
The most native speakers. Oh, that's going to be tough. Because I've studied this topic a lot, and there's several different answers. Well, China has a large population, so I'd say Mandarin Chinese is pretty high on the list. If it's not that, I would go with maybe Hindi. And
okay, so the answer is Mandarin. Mandarin has got
it is Mandarin.
many hundreds of millions
Yes.
of native speakers, because China has a very large one.
Yes.
Mandarin, the thing people need to know about this is Chinese, that term, Chinese is no language. Chinese is a group of languages. The Mandarin
Yeah.
is one of those. Okay, so we look at the most spoken language. Do you know what the second most spoken language
The
is?
second,
Based on number of native speakers.
based on number of native speakers. Wow. Well, because of the high population, I'd be inclined to guess Hindi again, but I might be wrong on that.
Okay. If I told you it was spoken in the Americas, what would you take the answer?
I would change to Spanish.
Yes.
Yes, that was my. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually the 10th question, but I'll throw in a bonus 11th question. Do you know what the third most?
The third most. Is that going to be Hindi?
No, I
Actually not.
I didn't actually write that down, but I think
Yeah. Well, it might not be.
it is either third or fourth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Arabic is also pretty high up on the list.
Okay, I was actually wrong. I looked it up. The second is Hindi.
It is Hindi. Oh, okay.
I read that wrong. Spanish is third and English is fourth.
I see.
Apologies for getting the wrong answer, but
No worries. No worries.
okay.
We're doing this for fun.
That's the equation done. Are you feeling? Are you getting pumped up?
Yeah, I'm having fun so far. I'm enjoying this.
Are you ready for some harder questions?
Oof. Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Round 2.
Round 2. Medium question. Okay. Can you give me an example of a voice by labial stop?
A voiced by labial stop. Now, bilabial. Labial, that's with the lips,
Lip, indeed.
I'm guessing. And what were you saying again? Bilabial stop?
Yes.
Would it be something like maybe like a maybe?
Okay, that you've just made a voiceless bilabial.
That's a voiceless. Close.
So a voice bilabial would be a
B.
Put your two lips together,
Yes.
and it's a stop because it doesn't continue.
Of course.
Moving in time. But
Of course.
okay. Now let's look at something different. Can you give me an example of a dental fricative?
Dental fricative. Oh, is that going to be my... Oh. Is that going to be... dental fricative? With the teeth fricative? Like thorn. Is that going to be it?
Yes, yes. So fricative means the air continues flowing.
Yes.
So, you can have a th, you can have a s, but this one is dental, so it's said through your teeth. So
Yes.
th.
The.
So you have the, which is a voice,
The.
fricative, and a th, which is a voiceless dental.
No, I see.
Okay. Now,
I see.
can you give me an example of an agglutinative language? Do you know what that is?
An agglutinative language.
Yes.
I know what that is. So, just before I give you an answer, agglutinative is when a language puts more things at the end of a word to give more meaning, so to speak.
Yes.
And you can have just a single sound like ooh, and that can add a whole range of meaning.
Yes, yes.
And my favorite agglutinative language, I'd say, Japanese.
Yes, yes. Japanese is a very interesting language.
Yes.
So, Finnish, Hungarian, most of the Eurasian languages are agglutinative. Kosa,
Indeed.
Those are both agglutinative. So, there's quite a few agglutinative languages.
Indeed.
Okay, now we've looked at agglutinative. Can you give me an example of an isolating language?
An isolating language.
Yes.
Hao. Ni hao. Mandarin.
Ni hao. And what language is that?
Mandarin.
Very good. So now an isolating language is kind of like the opposite of an agglutinative language.
Yes.
Agglutinative language takes different parts and puts them together. An isolating language has separate parts.
Yes.
So English over time has become started as an inflectional language and became more and more isolating. So there's inflectional
Indeed.
here, agglutinative here, and then isolating here. So you can
Yes.
move from agglutinative to isolating, or you can move from inflectional to isolating. So English is kind of more isolating, but it still has a lot of inflectional. So Mandarin has a few inflectional things, like sometimes things get changed on the word, but for the most part, you just have words
Yeah.
that you have separate words that go together that build up the meaning, as opposed to in something like an agglutinative language where you add a stem, so you add something like like in English we say care and careless. So the list
That's
changing the meaning. So
Yes.
that's an example of an agglutinative language. But an isolating strategy would be something like not care. So not is a separate word and then care.
yes.
Right?
Indeed.
So I know you like constructed languages, and I know you know I like constructed languages.
Yes.
But can you tell me what is the most successful constructed language? No, we're not talking about Esperanto because everyone knows that. Successful constructed language. What is the most successful constructed language? created for media, so a book, a movie, or a TV show.
Created for media. Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, I immediately think of very popular TV series and literature. So maybe like in Game of Thrones or Tolkien with his Middle Earth, maybe.
Okay, so those are popular, but if you want to look at
Yes.
how popular the language itself is,
Yes.
maybe the way we can judge that is by it's impossible to have explicit numbers, and I've tried to find it, there aren't really. But I would say that although Sindarin and Quenya are
Yes.
quite popular, we don't really know how many people
No.
speak them. But they have made quite a few books in Klingon, and those have sold really well. And so
Klingon.
Maybe take a percentage of that, say, okay, maybe 10% of these people can
Yes.
speak this language, then I would give it to Klingon. But the jury is out on that one.
Klingon.
Yes, so Klingon was created for, I think, Star Trek 3, and it continued to be used since then.
Yes. I remember seeing someone do a house tour where they only spoke in Klingon.
That's not funny.
It was very funny.
Yes. Maybe I should do that with Atlas. or you can do it with your con name.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're starting to get a bit harder.
Okay.
Can you tell me which Germanic language has the oldest text? Like, we're not talking about language because we know that Proto-Germanic is older than Old English, for instance.
Yeah.
We know that Proto-European is older than Proto-Germanic. But those languages aren't actually a text. What a text means is someone has actually written these down in some form.
Yes.
And Proto-Indo-European is not a text whatsoever. And Proto-Germanic, I think, is attested in a few inscriptions here or there, but I don't know if people would call that Proto-Germanic or just in a really, really old form like Proto-Norse.
Yeah,
So,
maybe not.
what Germanic language has the oldest actual text?
That's a difficult one because I'd presume it would be an ancient language and probably extinct. So I'm just trying to go with what I know to be oldest. There's a very kind of forgotten language that linguists discovered like a couple of decades ago called Hittite. I don't know if that's what you're going for.
No, Hittite is an Indo-European language. I'm looking for Germanic language.
German. Oh yes, Germanic, of course.
I don't know if I made that yet.
Of course. Yeah, you did. Yes, I just didn't listen. I'm sorry. Germanic specifically. Well, I'm getting stuck at Old Norse really, but I don't think that's it.
No, it's not Old Norse because Old Norse only really started coming together
About
because the Vikings didn't really do a lot of writing.
Yeah, came about after the birth of Christ, so probably something before that, maybe. So my only other guess really is Gothic.
Okay, so and Gothic is a good answer because Gothic is one of the oldest Germanic languages. But actually, I read that Old English actually has some very old texts because
Really?
Old English was Christianized very early.
Yes.
When something gets Christianized, then the monks come along and they try to write out Latin. So and Ethelbert Laws of Kent. That has been
Yes.
translated into Old English, and that was in Ethelbert lived from 590 to 616 AD.
Wow.
So that those laws are really old. But the Gothic, someone translated the Bible into Gothic.
Yes.
But we don't know exactly when that was composed.
No.
I'm going to give it as a time between Old English and Gothic. The oldest version we have is a 500 copy. But that was actually a copy of an even older version. So we
Yes.
know that Gothic it was diverged earlier, but the actual text we're not quite sure which is older.
Yes, because I remember reading about Codex Argenteus.
Yeah.
Codex
Yeah,
Argenteus. That's like 6th century copy of an older translation.
Okay. So,
But
since
yeah.
we're talking about text and literature,
Yes.
can you tell me what is?
Oh, and here we have more technical issues. We apologize for these troubles, ladies and gentlemen. Hang tight, do not panic. We'll be back pretty quick, I hope. Well, you know what they say, you can never stream on Twitch without any technical issues. If you don't have technical issues on Twitch, you don't have a good stream.
Again.
Again. Yes. Well, there's a saying that if you don't have technical issues during a stream, you're not really streaming.
Okay, so at least we know we're proper streamers now.
Yes. Yes, so where were we?
Okay. Okay, so I was asking you what when was the oldest known piece of literature written
The oldest piece of literature
that we know of
in any language?
in language?
In any language. Well, I would say, just because I've studied this a lot, Sumerian in its cuneiform.
Yeah. But okay, and what was the initial literature called?
The literature was it's called the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yes, very good. So the Epic of Gilgamesh was written down in ancient Sumerian in 2100 BC.
Yes.
It's about 4,000 years old, and
Yeah.
it's amazing how little humans have changed in that time. But it's still about the same thing that we worry about these days, like fighting with family and fathers and brothers and all that kind of stuff.
Indeed. I know this because I've actually studied the Epic of Gilgamesh specifically, and I actually tried to learn how to read it in proper Sumerian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about a specific language which has a lot of speakers. Which language family has the most native? So if you count up the speakers of all those languages,
Yes.
which language family would have the most?
The most native speakers.
Yes, and we're talking about the overall language family, not
The overall language family. Well, I'm inclined. I'm probably wrong on this one. I'm guessing Indo-European.
You're absolutely right.
I am. Oh,
It's got
yes.
English, French, Spanish, and Hindi.
Yes. That was my main.
Which are 3 of the 5
Yeah.
biggest languages.
Exactly.
Okay. Here's a tricky one. which language family has the second most symbol?
That is cruel.
Now we're getting difficult now.
Now it's getting difficult. The second most native speakers. Wow. Well, I know that that there's two big groups that I know a lot about, and there's another kind of big group that I don't know much about at all.
Yeah.
So, first guess I will go with Dravidian from India, and that's wrong. Yeah. My second guess would be, you know what, let's mix it up and go for the one I don't know much about at all. That would be Afro... no, what was it called? The... oh, what was that called again?
Which one is one from North Africa?
Yes, the large African... that's called...
What Afro-Asiatic?
yeah, Afro-Asiatic. That's
Okay, and
the one I'm...
no, that's not right.
Then it's got to be Sino-Tibetan.
Right, yeah. Because Sino-Tibetan has got include
Mandarin.
but it also includes a bunch of other languages.
Yes.
Such as the Tibetan part of the name. Yeah, so it's very interesting to see. I can't remember exactly, but I was reading about this area. I think third place is either Afro-Asiatic or Mounted Congo. Because if you look at overall language family, some of those language families is really, really big. It's less diverse. Individual languages might be small, but so many of them that it adds up.
Indeed.
So the language family is completely different to the individual language.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So we got the last one before you really start losing your mind.
Oh God.
Okay. So what language family is Thai? The language in Thailand.
Oh, that's pretty easy for me actually. I know it. I know it by several names, but
Yeah.
Thai Kadai I think would suffice,
Yeah.
or Kadai, as I also know it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all languages are part of a language family.
Indeed.
And so even that's a part of language family, just that language family only has one member.
Yeah.
So they've come up with names for all these different language families. And that's just one of the thousands of language families in the world. Okay, so we got into the medium ones. I think there were a few hiccups there, but how are you doing?
Whew, well, yeah, a couple of hiccups, yeah, but most of these were challenging. Makes me think.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
if you're making even more difficult questions, then this could be kind of interesting to watch.
Okay. Let's go to the top key now. Are you ready to use that old noggin?
Well, not really, but I'll not get any more ready than this. Can't be more ready than this, so let's press on.
Okay. Okay. So one thing I find very interesting is how you can make up words for a language. They aren't real words. I mean, they wouldn't mean anything to anyone, but it would sound like they are. So
Yeah.
you can have something like a flange or a tranquil or a swingle. It sounds like
Yeah.
English, but it's not English.
Exactly.
And you can do the same with other languages. Okay, the specific name. So what is the system of rules governing phoneme sequences in a language?
Oh dear. First off, I don't think I got everything. Could you just repeat one more time?
Okay. There is a system of rules
Yes.
governing the sequence of phonemes in a language.
Yes.
So the sequence of phonemes
Yes.
is what
Phonemes.
sounds follow each other.
Yeah.
So for instance, in English, you can have sing,
Yes.
you can't have ng, you can't have the n at the beginning.
Exactly. I think
that's
it.
an example of this.
Yes. I think it was the word phoneme I didn't quite hear.
Okay.
So, well, a set of rules governing phonemes. I should know this, and I'm just gonna guess phonology.
Okay, so it's related to phonology. Half the word is like
Yes.
phono in it. Now,
Morphology.
No.
No, that's completely different. I know. Let's see here. So, phonology. That was organization of sounds, wasn't it? Yes.
But this is a system of rules.
Yes. Well, you said these questions were.
Describing the sounds of a language.
Yeah. You said these were going to be difficult, so I'm abstaining from the obvious answer. Grammar.
Okay, so it's not called grammar, it's called phonotactics.
Phonotactics.
Is
I know about that.
specific set of rules that tell you what makes something work in the language and what
Indeed.
something not. For instance, in English, you can't say kuno because phonotactics changed over time, and eventually English said no, we don't want K's. And all languages have this. Where languages get borrowed, the phonotactics looks at that word and says, no, we are not allowed to have an L in that. Or for instance, Hawaii.
Yes.
Christmas becomes Kalikimaka because you can't have these really big consonant clusters. A consonant cluster is when consonants follow each other.
Yes. When you have multiple consonants in a row.
But for instance, a language like Serbian doesn't care. So the word Serbian in Serbian is Srpski.
Yes.
Which is Srpski.
Yes.
So one of our and that's a variation.
Yes. That's a lot of consonant clusters there.
Yes. So that's
Yeah.
okay. Now you either know this or you don't.
Okay.
This isn't so much as hard as just obscure. Do you know specifically when the IPA was set up?
Oh. I get what you mean by either you know it or you don't. Well, I'd imagine that it would have been used quite early in linguistics. And I think maybe we have another hiccup on the old connection here. Yes, we have, again, technical issues. But this gives me time to think. So, well, I need to think about that one. I'll think about that and brainstorm a little bit out loud while we're waiting for him to reconnect. Appears we have terrible internet here.
Hello again, yes.
Yes, hello. Yes.
Okay, so do you know when the IPA was set up in it?
Well, I would have guessed they started with that kind of early in linguistics. So I'd say like mid to late 1800s.
Yes, yes. So if you want the exact date, it's 1886.
1886, yes. I was going to narrow it. Yeah, I was going to narrow it down to the 1880s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yes.
Okay. now for something completely.
I always go for
Do
1880s.
you know what a lateral click is, and can you do one?
A lateral click.
Yes.
Well, I know there's several types of clicks. I know that much. But a lateral click, I'm not sure I can.
Okay, so a lateral click would be you can use the side of your mouth and it features in the name of a language spoken in South Africa. And that language is IsiXhosa.
Yes.
So you take your tongue and you can put it on the side and you pull down. And it's also sometimes you make that sound when you're calling a dog or snapping a horse. So that is an example of a lateral click, and it's used quite a lot in Southern African languages.
It is, most notably in Khoisan languages.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people think that that's where for them to got the clicks from, because there's other languages in Africa which are related but don't have to.
Exactly.
Okay, so how much do you, so these questions are all really random because I just want to come up with obscure things.
Perfect.
Okay, so, yes. Okay, now, how much do you know about Old Chinese?
Well, the writing system, quite a bit. The language itself, not so much. So I think this will be just fine.
Mandarin is a tonal language.
Indeed.
Middle, Chinese is a tonal language. Was Old Chinese a tonal language?
All Chinese language. Well, I've been looking at several of them, so I think they're all tonal, yeah.
Okay, now what's very interesting is linguists mostly agree that Old Chinese was not tonal.
Really?
And that tone developed
yes.
between Old Chinese and Middle Chinese.
Of course, I've heard something along those lines before.
Yes, and what's very interesting about it is the theory about how these things come about is that you might have to have it happened in Chinese when the consonants fell off. So you'll have muck and puck. And
yes.
people say them slightly differently. And so when the consonants fall off, you'll have ma and ma. And to distinguish them, people would say ma, and they would use the tone to distinguish them.
Yeah.
There were these sound shifts, and then when you have sound shifts affect all sorts of things. So sound shifts in English, for instance, people stop pronouncing the ends of words, and that kind of affected the grammar. And in Chinese, losing these consonants eventually developed tones.
Yes. Interesting.
Okay.
I thought it really had tones.
Yeah, well, so I looked at it and I was like,
that's kind of cool, really.
yes. What it makes sense because
indeed,
if tones were a thing in inherent languages, all languages would count.
Yeah, I suppose.
So it must have developed at some point, and we now know where that point is.
Yes.
Okay, so how much do you know about the genetic relationship of languages in Africa, specifically Southern Africa?
In Southern Africa, well, if you're talking Khoisan, I know a little bit.
Okay, can you name me a language that is genetically related to Zulu?
Related to Zulu, well, IsiXhosa. No, I can't do the click right.
Yes.
Or Swahili.
IsiXhosa is one.
Yeah.
And could you name another?
Swahili.
Yes, Swahili is also related. So all three are Bantu languages.
Yes. They are.
Okay, so that is question number 5 of the hard test. So how's it going? Is it straining the brain yet?
Oof, well, I can feel my brain working. I'm getting pumped. I'm getting more and more pumped.
Okay, so now these ones are really tough. So hopefully I can Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Now we know in Proto-Indo-European is the ultimate ancestor of most European languages. Now, can you explain to me what the process that is called S-mobile is? What is that process?
S-mobile.
Have you heard of that?
I actually haven't heard of that at all.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's quite an interesting thing that happened in Proto-Indo-European. So Proto-Indo-European very often has S at the end of a word or at the beginning of a word, and sometimes those S's would smush into each other.
Yeah.
And it would either end up at the end of it would end up at the beginning of one word or at the end of another, and sometimes they would fall off. So when S are written down in reconstructed Proto-Indo-European words, often put it in brackets because you don't actually know.
I see.
Like it was there or not. So the Proto-Indo-European word skep became English scab, but it fell off when it went into Latin and it became capulare. The capulare and scab.
Yes, capulare.
But the S fell off in the Latin version. But it's not a per language thing.
No.
So it's not that it fell off in every case in Latin. And we can
No.
have an example of the other way around.
Yeah.
Squalo became squalus in Latin, so Latin kept the S, but English lost the S, and it became whale in English.
I see.
And so that particular thing is called S-mobile, and it actually explains quite a lot. And it's a very, very funny thing is that when the S fell off, it actually applied sound shifts to the letter which is now at the front. But when the S was there, it didn't apply sound shifts. So actually spring and frog are partners. But it's because when the S fell off, the P shifted to an N.
Really?
So spring and
Wow.
frog come from the same source.
Wow. I've never heard of that. So that is genuinely quite fascinating for me. That's the kind of thing I nerd about all the time.
Yes. Okay. Now, how much further into European do you
Oh, a sentence. Well, I know more theory than in practices. Yeah.
Okay, so the English word Mary can be traced all the way back to Proto-Indo-European. What did that word mean in Proto-Indo-European? Like, what is the semantic shift that ended up with that word? Because no word can change meaning of it. What is the original meaning of that word?
Yeah. Could you give me that word again?
The word is Mary, as in Merry Christmas, or we went out and everyone was merry.
I see, Mary. Well, seeing how the word heart comes from curvus and so on, I think Mary is coming from like loads of semantic changes, but I think it. Well, now, if we go back far enough, they wouldn't have complex abstract meanings. Those would come later. So I'm thinking it might have been some more basic meaning to that.
Yes.
So, no, I'm not really sure what it may have meant.
Mary ultimately comes from a word meaning short.
Meaning short?
And yes.
That's completely different from what I'd guess.
What would you have guessed?
Well, I would have guessed it could have come from some sort of affectionate term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all these things are possible. It's just this is what ended up happening.
Yes.
It became a word brakus, or however you pronounce it in ancient Greek, which means upper arm. The upper arm was shorter than the law.
No. Yes.
And Braco got inherited into Latin and then later on into French, and eventually came into English as the word bra. So bra and Mary are actually contact.
Yeah. Well,
How
really?
funny is that?
That's
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
that is funny as hell. Okay, that's really funny.
Yes, yes. And sometimes when you trade these developments, you find little gems like that.
Oh yes, I found a few like that in the past.
Yes. So I love looking at newly discovered languages and finding connections and stuff. Um, so I remember I made a post on the Linguistics asking, can you guys tell me about a Germanic language that I probably haven't heard of? And someone said, it's a language spoken in Poland. Now I want to ask you, Erik,
Yes.
what Germanic language that hasn't been mentioned here
Yeah.
on this episode so far, what Germanic language is spoken in Poland?
In Poland.
And it hasn't been mentioned yet.
Wow. That's. I can only think of one. Like, wait, did you say Germanic or North Germanic?
No, Germanic.
Germanic. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that opens it up for a bit more possibilities here.
Yes.
What I'm guessing, since well, most of the languages over there in Europe are some kind of relation to German, so maybe like Yiddish, maybe.
Okay, I can't confirm or deny if Yiddish is spoken in Poland, but actually,
Okay.
I suppose you either know this or you don't. There's a unique kind of dialect that became a language spoken in Poland called Wimysoric, or however you pronounce it. It's spoken it's spoken in Poland, and actually it got added to the UN list of endangered languages a while ago.
Wow.
Because it it's been spoken there for ages. It was spoken very commonly before the First World War, but then politics got involved and people said don't speak this language, and then people started learning Polish, and women's always has been on the but it is a West Germanic language. It's descended from High German, and it's just fascinating to see all the different types of languages out there. One that we don't even know about.
Yes. I've
So
heard.
the next time people list Germanic languages, you can add women's order to that.
Yes. I heard about a kind of language over there, but I wasn't sure about it at all. That is really fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you don't know the answer, at least you learn something.
Yes, and that's what I like a lot. If I don't know anything, learning is what I like best after that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's this, maybe you will learn something from this as well. There's a language spoken in Luxembourg.
Ah.
Do you know what language that is?
Well, I'd suppose that's Luxembourgish.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Okay, but now the real question is,
Yeah.
what German dialect is that most closely related to?
What German dialect is that? Oh. So I'm guessing there's a couple of others in that branch, but
Yes.
yeah.
So you can see the purely from the geography. So
Yes.
there's three main types of German. we talk about Low German. Low German isn't actually a German language.
Yes.
It's not part of the High German branch, but often gets put
Indeed.
into that
Indeed.
thing just because it's part of the geographic area. So there's Low German, there's Middle German, and then there's Upper German. So Upper German,
Upper German.
is Bavarian and Swiss German and things like that.
No.
Now High German is based on Middle German dialects because it's based on mostly the dialects spoken by people where Martin Luther lives, because Martin Luther translated the Bible into his dialect,
I see.
and that then became the basis of High German. Now, the dialect most closely related to Luxembourg is obviously the dialect spoken in Germany that borders Luxembourg, and that state is called Hessen. And actually, I have relatives from Hessen. So I was born in South Africa, but I have German relatives, and they live in Hessen.
That's a language that really fascinates me.
Yes.
Man, Hessisch.
Yes. So in Hessisch they would say things like haben Sie Fleisch. Instead of haben Sie Fleisch, they say haben Sie Fleisch. So I grew up hearing this dialect, and whenever people talk about it, they're talking about the dialect I'm know about. Like they don't say absolute, they say ebel. So it's a bit like you've got a potato in your mouth, ebel.
Yeah, but ebel, that sounds, that's much closer to Scandinavian actually.
Yes. Okay, so you learn something from those past 4 questions. Maybe you can learn something from this. And if there's nothing else your mind didn't ask that.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the last question, and hopefully this will be just as interesting as the past 4.
Okay.
So now, the thing that I've learned about languages over time is that there's really no one correct way of speaking. You can say the way you speak, like the way I speak, is Cape Town South African English. So not only do I speak South African English, but I speak a specific kind of English spoken in Cape Town. And in Cape Town there are also different types of English depending on what like ethnic group you're part of. So I speak white South African English, and then there are people of Indian descent, there are people of mixed race descent. They're all on a slightly different type. Okay.
I see.
So now that said, if we look at Italian.
Yes.
Now standard Italian is based on a certain dialect of Italian.
Yes.
Do you know what that dialect is?
I should know that. Is it the Tuscan dialect?
Yes.
Tuscany, yes.
So Tuscany is the region that includes Florence.
Yes.
And Florence had a lot of poets and other kind of media people. So if they were making songs or they were writing poems or anything like that. So because that had a lot of prestige, over time that was seen as the best Italian. Because all dialect has some kind of association with it. So in America, people have a certain association with the way Black Americans speak.
Indeed.
So that dialect is called African American English, and it has a certain people have a certain feeling of it, and it's also got its own phonology. It's got its own grammar that is different than standard English. And so if that was perceived dialect, then that might be the basis of standard English. But standard English is based on the dialect of London. And now you know that the standard standard Italian is based on the dialect of Florence.
Yes.
So that is the last question in my list. So what did you think of this language quiz?
I find it genuinely interesting. I mean, if possible, I'd like to do it again sometime.
Yes.
Because I had a lot of fun.
Yes. It was a lot of fun, and you can learn something as you go along. And
Indeed.
it's also fun talking about these things because the only thing I had written down were all the questions, and all the rest I kind of ad-libbed.
I see. No, but this is. I find this quite educational.
Yes, certainly. So it's fun, but you can also teach someone.
Yes.
Because maybe they don't know about Uranic and Proto-Indo-European and stuff. I mean, I didn't know anything about Proto-Indo-European, but then I started learning about this stuff, and I just find it extremely fascinating.
Yeah, same here. Every time I learn something new about languages, it just grips onto me a little stronger.
Yes, and you just want to learn more and more. And
Yes.
more.
It just grabs you.
and I love finding connections between languages, like the German word schwach is related to the Swedish word smart. And so you can see that how the sound slightly change over time.
Indeed. Yes. Yes. Oh, can I tell you about my favorite example of sound shift in a word?
Yes, of course.
That's because this is my favorite example of sound shift. So
Okay.
this is from a language in North America. This is from the Algonquian language family. Yes, concerning the language of Cheyenne. In modern Cheyenne, the word for winter is literally ah. It's a long ah with a glottal stop at the end. It's really peculiar, but you'll never believe where that evolved from.
Where did it evolve from?
The Proto-Algonquian word for winter is actually Peponwi.
Wow.
And so different. But it didn't happen just overnight. There was a series of steps in between. For example, yes. For example, in languages in general, vowels and W's and H's at the end of words, they are rather fragile sometimes. And at the end, these things tend to drop off. And in Algonquian, that's exactly what happened. Peponwi became Pepon, exactly. And different languages decide to gang up on specific consonants and just get rid of them entirely. In in Proto-Algonquian, they decided there was a P problem. So they removed the P's.
No P's.
So Pepon become Aeon. And you know languages, and you know that vowels, they don't stay pristine, they change.
No, they change.
So Aeon becomes Ain. Ain. And N's at the end of words are also fragile. And the N dropped off.
They have more nasal characters, so people that we don't want to pronounce things nasally anymore.
Yes.
They just throw the into it.
So Ain became I. And then there was a catch, like a glottal stop, with an additional E at the end. So IE is the new form. IE. And then the first E is changed to an A, so you get a long A-E. And then and then the E at the end just drops off, and you're left with A. And that's such a peculiar route to take.
Indeed.
And do you know how long that took?
No, how long did that take?
1500 years.
Wow.
That's not too much of a difference. So,
No, it didn't.
in the year 500, it would have been Peponwi.
Wow. and it's crazy to think, people say maybe we can discover the world's first language. If things can change that much in 1500 languages, we have no hope of
Exactly.
constructing a language that was spoken over 1,000 years.
Yeah, like, if that's just 1,500 years ago, what's
Yes.
100,000 years ago? That,
Yes.
but maybe not all words are Peponwi. Maybe not.
Yes. Like, I think the word ship comes from so the Indo-European word skip or skip.
Yes, I've heard something similar.
It just changed the SK into a ship or ship, which kind of
Yes.
sounds a bit like ship.
Yes.
and that's 4,000 years. So in 4,000 years it changed from skip to ship.
That's not much of a change, really.
No, not really.
So, maybe it's possible to reconstruct some words from long ago, but not many. My favorite example of that.
Change a lot and some don't.
Yeah, I have a favorite example of such long distance relationships, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And that's over in Asia, in New Guinea and Nepal. Because there's a language in Nepal called Kusunda, and that's actually related to the languages of New Guinea.
Oh wow.
It's not local language at all. It's not Sino-Tibetan, it's not Dravidian, it's Austronesian. And the thing is, and the weird thing is that these languages are so similar that you wouldn't think they have been separated for so long, but
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah. Because they say languages that are closer to the source tend to be more different than languages that have gone further up.
Yes. So there's a lot of
People tend to hold on to things.
yeah. There's a lot of debate whether or not or where Kusunda lies, but some evidence suggests it might be Austronesian. It might be related to the languages in New Guinea, but it's uncertain, and I think we'll never know.
Yeah.
Because according to Wikipedia, this year there's only 3 speakers left.
Wow.
Yeah. So we may not know. But
Yeah.
what if I could prove to you a language connection for 75,000 years?
Wow.
What if I could prove such a connection for you? Because there is one.
Yeah.
There is one such example in the world.
What is that?
How familiar are you with Madagascar? No.
Not hugely.
No. Okay, so I'll be easy on you. In Madagascar, there's a language called Malagasy,
Yeah.
and that is Austronesian.
Oh wow.
And the thing is, it's not changed all that much. It's not that different from its Austronesian brothers and sisters in New Guinea.
So someone must have boarded there a long time ago.
Exactly. And it's thought that maybe these split off when the Austronesian people migrated from continental China over to New Guinea. And it's thought that maybe someone could have taken a different path, maybe. That's a theory, because
Yeah.
they are clearly related, but
Yeah.
that means they must have split off when the people migrated from continental China over to Oceania, and that would have been around 75,000 years ago.
Yes, and then you just need to ask the question like, how did that language get there?
Yeah. And
Alright.
and also, if Kusunda is related to them, maybe someone split off and went north as well.
Yes.
So maybe. We may never know. But
Yes.
these are some theories.
Yes. So I find these kind of connections fascinating, and that's part of the reason that I'm so interested in languages.
Indeed.
Alright. Well, thank you, Erik, for letting me come on your show and letting me ask my questions. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you very much for creating this quiz for me. I had a lot of fun.
Hopefully I will make another one and I'll stump you on all of them.
That would be great.
Because when you get it wrong, then you learn.
Then you learn, exactly. I had a lot of fun today.
Yes, it was fun. Okay, thanks, Erik.
Yes. Before you go, I'd just like to tell people that they can find you on sillylinguistics.com on your website.
Yes.
You also have your YouTube channel, Silly Linguistics, was it? No.
Steve the Vagabond.
Steve the Vagabond on YouTube, yes.
And he looks a bit like it.
Yes, exactly. So people can recognize the image, hopefully.
Yes.
And you also have the wonderful Facebook group and your language comics.
Yes, so I've got a Facebook group for Silly Linguistics. I've got a Facebook page for Steve the Vagabond and Silly Linguistics. And I'll also make a comic for Silly Linguistics.
Yes. So that's where you can find Rolf, and if you want, you could annoy him. With languages.
All sorts of weird language questions, just like I've been asking.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So this is what we do for fun. We talk about languages and create quizzes for each other. So thank you so much for joining me today, and for everyone who didn't see this, they can rewatch this episode on your YouTube channel when we have uploaded that.
So I'm going to be working with you to upload that to my channel.
Yes, and I will make sure to give extensive linkage and link to everywhere. So that it will be easier for the viewers to find it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Erik. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much. And that is Camp Netherside for today. A very special episode indeed. Whew. We got through it. The quiz was kind of hard, I felt. Some of the questions were easy, some were difficult, and others were just obscure. There were some questions I didn't know, and I have learned. I feel like I've learned a lot today, and if you find languages interesting as well, definitely check out Rolf Weimar. I think he did a wonderful job with this quiz, and he makes language comics all the time as well, so you should check those out. I find them hilarious, and yeah, maybe we'll do a quiz like this again in the future, because I had a lot of fun, and it sounds like Rolf had a lot of fun as well, so there might be more language quizzes or language episodes in the future. Look forward to that. Because I certainly am. I'm really happy for more language streams. So thank you so much for watching Camp Netherside today. May you have a good life and all of that talk. And I think we are going to host someone and then call it a day. I think. So, gonna host my good friend Modern Poet, and then I'll be off. And thank you so much for watching Camp Netherside. This has been a special episode in collaboration with Rolf Weimar, the creator of Silly Linguistics. I've been Erik, I'm Gamer Subject 01. It's been tremendous fun today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next episode. Before I go, I'll announce about the next episode. I almost forgot. The next episode of Camp Netherside might actually be a week or 2 weeks long, because I am considering playing a game called Postal 2. I've streamed it in the past, about half a year ago, but since then I've discovered there's an expansion, adding basically an entirely new game. And I found some total conversion mods that I'd like to test out. So I'll probably play through all of that in the not too distant future. Currently I'm trying to gather some friends to play a tabletop simulator to have a good time there. And the tabletop simulator session will probably be the next episode, as I'll need to do some preparations for our postal week. That'll come closer to summer. Postal will come maybe next month, maybe April. I have lots of projects to work on. Camp Netherside will continue. The next episode will be hopefully again in 2 weeks, or even sooner, hopefully. And the next episode will, as I said, be Tabletop Simulator with friends, where we play games such as Snake Oil and Funemployed. If you do not know what those games are, I recommend you search for them on YouTube. You can find a lot of great videos. That's been Camp Netherside for today. Thank you so much for watching. And take care. Thank you. Thank you.
Alright. Here. This should be better. But you're gonna have to look at me.
Yeah, but that could be why the stream keeps failing going to that, because that's the only way I do Hearthstone.
Hey, look, I won! Someone feared me and I wasn't even there. Gamer, thank you for the host.
Yeah, they've been hosting us and putting up with this crap. Alright, I gotta go to the doctor's.
Did you hear David Tennant that time?